Hello, I have come here to find Pastor Alphonse, because I have a problem that is disturbing me. Actually, the reason I am here is that I am a sorcerer. I really don't know Pastor Alphonse physically, but spiritually I know him. In fact, I want you to understand that the moment you came to Jesus Christ and you are living a holy life, you have actually joined a war, and you are in conflict with the devil, who regard you as a rebel, unless you are a carnal Christian, who are regarded as irrelevant by the kingdom of Lucifer, for a carnal Christian belong to Satan, and demons don't mind him, but a born-again Christian who walk in holiness is a strategic target for the kingdom of Lucifer. I was saying that I never saw your pastor physically, but I used to see him in the spirit, and I knew him when I came through astral traveling to attack him. I came here in this church today, to confess my witchcraft and black magic practice. In fact, I was initiated in witchcraft when I was in the womb of my mother, so I was born with witchcraft, and I grew up with it, and in the age of 14, my mother took me to Lower Congo province to visit our grandfather. It was in that region that I was initiated in black magic or occultism. I was introduced in a huge saucepan, which was boiled up, and I went through rituals. When you are initiated in witchcraft or occultism, you get a new name in the spiritual world, and I had a new name in the astral world of witches, but my name on earth is Danny. Before being initiated into magic, I was married, and I had 2 children, but once I became an occultist, I was urged to get married to a siren of the parallel world, of the fallen angel Magdalene. I married a diva of the submarine world and we had 3 children with her. The diva hated my wife and children. In the end she killed my wife and my 2 children. Now this is what brought me here. In the past, when this place of Mayimbe was still uninhabited, even before construction of the first house, and before the first family ever moved here, we were coming to attend satanic meeting here, and even today witches and wizards come here for dark mass. This is our place and our meeting take place here. Long ago, when this quarter was still a bush, sorcerers from all over the place gathered here. In the spirit realm there is a city in this place, called the city of Nineveh. Despite the fact this place has become residential, the unseen kingdom of Nineveh is still here. There is an advanced and dark kingdom of witches set up in this place long time ago. The residents of this borough cannot see it, for it is a spiritual construction. This unseen Luciferian kingdom of Nineveh is a residential and industrial city, with industry of manufacturing and production of satanic goods, and there is also a military command base here in this city, where we coordinate witchcraft activity and operations, in collaboration with Satan. When this bush became a residential area, churches also moved here, and we were forced to attack, overpower and destroy any church that move in this place. We work to either by shut them down or remove the presence of God through willful sins. We have managed to destroy many churches, but it was when your church, the Jordan Ministry of Pastor Alphonse, moved here, that things changed dramatically, and problems began. The arrival of this ministry marked the beginning of war and confrontation in the invisible realms. The issue is that this territory belonged to Luciferus, and he has built the kingdom of Nineveh here, and churches that moved here get destroyed. But since your pastor came to build his ministry here, we have become unable to access and enter the spiritual city of Nineveh. We are unable to fly in, or to get inside the city because of the wall of fire that is separating the boulevards in 2. These flames of fire are explosive and mysterious. All this is an unprecedented phenomena. We saw this pillar of fire for the first time when your church moved here. No one is able to get in the city. Your pastor, by opening his church here, has made it impossible for witches and wizards to access the city, and even our master Luciferus, who is worshipped as God in the city, is unable to access the advanced kingdom. Your pastor has captured a strategic kingdom. There is unseen wars. The day you moved here we saw this pillar of fire for the first time, and we contacted our leader Luciferus. We said to him, Master, there is a fire stopping us from flying inside the city. We have never seen this kind of fire, whether in the cosmic world, the red world or the pandemonium kingdom. It was mysterious for us. Initially Luciferus could not realize the gravity of the situation, so he told us, just cross over the fire, you will be fine. But when we tried to fly over the flames of fire, 47 dwarves demons working with us were destroyed by the pillars of fire. They were burned. We used to send these evil spirits to hospitals to steal human blood for us. Human blood is oil for our planes and flying craft in hyperspace. When this flames of fire destroy these dwarves demon, it also pursue us, and we ran to the satanic world, precisely to the Pandemonium Kingdom, and we reported to Luciferus about the incident. We were confused. We asked him, Master, what is happening to us? What was that fire? He replied, I am in control. Tomorrow you will have dry again. Luciferus seems confident to us. The following day, Luciferus sent us back to Nineveh, and when we approached the city we could not access it because of the pillar and the flames of fire that has blocked the city entrance. We wonder who is responsible of these strange and mysterious flames of fire stopping us from accessing the city of Nineveh. Then we phoned Luciferus to inform him about the flames of fire. He assured us that we will be fine. We just had to proceed. We were about to fly through the flames, in order to access the city, when suddenly, we saw a powerful and an unending army. The mysterious army of light emerged from nowhere. This was an unknown and magnificent army of angels. You have to see it. It was incredible to behold. These angelic soldiers were numerous, and we stood in astonishment. Then we called Luciferus, and we informed him about the appearance of these angelic warriors. We asked him about the origin of this army. We have never seen it in the cosmic world and the Pandemonium Kingdom. Satan tried to lie to us, telling that it must be his army. We said to him, Master, we don't have this army in the infernal kingdom, and we don't know where they come from. And while I was observing the battalions and legions of the army of angels, I noticed that they were dressed in garment and sandals like in the time of Jesus Christ. I mean, they were dressed like in ancient Rome and ancient Egypt period. They were holding swords and whips. These whips were short, but when they hit you, even if you are far, it become long like an elastic. And when we informed Luciferus about this army, he insisted that we should move forward and advance against them. And when we tried to advance against this army, we realized that we were powerless against them. They overpowered us in second, and they whipped all of us violently. We were disbanded. It was confusion and each one of us ran for his life. We regrouped later on, and we traveled back to the infernal kingdom. We were surprised as we found the master Luciferus in a state of unconsciousness. After 5 minutes he woke up, and we held an emergency meeting. As a result he decided that we should retreat for fasting and prayer. Luciferus said, My soldiers, we have to determine who is this enemy that is blocking the access to my city. We must find out who want to conquer Nineveh kingdom. You have to fast and pray to uncover the truth. From that day onward we retreated to the cemetery for fasting and prayer, where we did incantation and magical prayer for 3 weeks in that cemetery. As a result, the face of Pastor Alphonse was displayed on a magic monitor, and records of his identity and his ministry were displayed, including details about his church. As we were watching details about your pastor and your church, the magic monitor exploded. There was a huge explosion and detonation. As consequence we all collapsed to the ground, and we went into coma. After 5 minutes we all woke up. Then Luciferus said, We have just seen the face of the man stopping us from entering my kingdom of Nineveh. We must kill him at all cost. He has to die so that we can take back the kingdom. It was then the hunt for your pastor began. We began to look for Pastor Alphonse in order to kill him, but every time we were coming to attack the pastor, the church was turning to a lake. When this happened, the master Luciferus insisted that we had to shoot arrows in that lake. In fact, we could hear the pastor preaching, and we could hear people in the church, but they were nowhere to be seen. Instead of the church, the lake was there, and as we continued to shoot arrows in the lake, something happened. In a twinkling of an eye, legions of angelic soldiers showed up again, and they began to whip us violently. Many of us received shocks. I got sick as a result of their beating, and even today I am still suffering. I have back pain that has become recurring. I am not getting healed. Although this incident happened 2 months ago, when this happened we returned to Luciferus and we complained that we never encountered this kind of things before. It's just too much. What can we do? Satan said, I am giving you 2 powerful demons. and I will send you a pastor so that he can help you. The pastor has many tactics that will help you overthrow this opposition." Actually, the pastor Lucifer was talking about was an occultic pastor, who had a church in the city, yet he was a Satanist. By the way, many pastors travel to the cosmic realm to get power to perform miracles and to have mega churches. Later we were joined by two powerful demons and the occultic pastor. We started a retreat of fasting and prayer in the cemetery. After uttering magical prayer and incantation in the cemetery for 3 weeks, we ended the retreat. We began to plan and strategize our attack against Pastor Alphonse and the church, in order to recover the territory of Nineveh. This was a 4 months assignment. The purpose of this operation was to kill the pastor, to take over or to dislocate his church, and to recover and reconquer the territory of Nineveh, which was our military command base. Actually, our headquarters was located in the Red Kingdom, around the Slave Kingdom, where they are souls of world leaders who were in covenant with Lucifer. When they died they were made slave and they are doing hard labor over there, and both of these territories are located in the Infernal Kingdom. We were upbeat when this fasting and prayer in the cemetery ended. We had faith and motivation. We were assisted by two powerful demons and the occultic pastor. Immediately we first went to the bush at 2 a.m. After undressing we laid naked and left our body. We travel in hyperspace. We were heading to church. When we reached the perimeter around the church, we stood in space. We were looking for the pastor. Not long after arriving we saw a car heading to church. We were informed that it was the pastor car. Quickly my colleague took a grenade. This was a deadly and fatal explosive device that witches throw to cars and buses to cause them to have accident, and we wanted to throw it to the pastor car to cause an accident. Our colleague was about to launch the grenade to the pastor car, when suddenly in a split second the car disappeared right before us. When this happened we were all in absolute confusion. We were complaining to one another, and wondering about what has just happened, but the satanic pastor sent by Lucifer encouraged us, saying, "Pastor Alphonse is going to die whether he like it or not. We will get him, don't worry." As we were talking, we noticed that the pillar of fire that separated us from the church disappeared. We also noticed the absence of the angelic battalion and regiments that used to stationed around the church. We were surprised and could not understand what was happening, but I was suspicious. I said to my colleagues, it is possible that these angelic warriors are hiding, but they wouldn't listen to me. In the end we decided to attack. We thought the pastor and the church were defenseless. But when we advanced against the church to attack, we saw the legion and regiments of angelic soldiers reappearing before us. They started to beat us violently with their whips. We were 23 Satanists, 2 demons and the occultic pastor. The Lord angels started to beat us and many colleagues received shock. Others died on the spot. After this defeat we retreated to the Pandemonium Kingdom. Let me tell you, Christian, when you came to Christ you join a conflict and war. If you claim to be a Christian, and you don't engage in attack the enemy, you are already a victim. After this failure and the death of many of our colleagues, we had no choice but to try again. We came back again. In fact, we have been working to kill the pastor for 4 months. We came for the last time on a Sunday. First we contacted the Sun God, and after talking to him, we advanced to the church to attack the pastor. We saw him going to the pulpit to preach. But the moment he opened a Bible passage to read, we saw the pastor becoming water. We were stunned and demoralized. There was disbelief and disappointment. Then we called the master Luciferus, to inform him that the target has turned to water. But Luciferus insisted that we must shoot that water shape and see what will happen. We shot arrows to the pastor who had become water, but there was no effect. Yet Luciferus kept on pressing us to keep shooting, and we continued to attack. We were actually positioned in space around the church building. As we continued to shoot arrows, the church was led by the Holy Spirit to take authority, and to engage in a spiritual war. When church began to exercise authority, fire began to shoot from the church, and these fireballs from the church shot in our direction. We escape and flee in terror. When we arrived back to the Pandemonium Kingdom, we found Luciferus bleeding on his ears and nose. He was in bad shape. And when we arrived there we noticed that our oil reserve were destroyed, which were human blood, and we lost many friends in the process of trying to destroy Pastor Alphonse. In that 4 months of war against this church, 20 of our colleagues died, only 3 of us are alive. Luciferus was in agony and unconscious when we retreated in the satanic world. When he woke up he said to us, "You are all expendable, you have failed to recapture Nineveh, you are gonna die, and you will be transferred to the kingdom of slave." Luciferus said, "I will look for new soldiers to help me conquer Nineveh." When we heard about death we got more wicked. We had to kill to impress Luciferus as he liked human blood. In the kingdom of Luciferus, when you failed in your mission, it's either the bottomless pit or the red kingdom of slaves in the infernal world. We have failed in our assignment and we were promised death by Luciferus, and he said that we will all end up in the red kingdom. As consequence I began to kill, and cast sickness in people and to cause death just to appease Luciferus. I went to buy the powder Evening Beauty, the parfumacor and a wire in order to set up traps, and once a victim is caught by this trap, it's either sickness or death or madness. I installed these traps against members of Pastor Alphonse's ministry, but somehow these traps were failing to catch them. After many attempts and failures against believers of your church, one of my colleague named Fiston said to me that, "We have tried every techniques in the book but we have failed. So it is better to wait and see what Luciferus would do." Actually we were waiting for our death, as our leader Luciferus has promised us, because there is no such thing as mercy or forgiveness in the dark world. If you failed in your mission you either go the bottomless pit or the world of slaves for hard labors. So we were waiting for punishment from the master. I was talking to my friend called Fiston. I told my colleague that, I have the impression that this Pastor Alphonse could a son of God, because Master Luciferus always claim in his speeches that he is the King of Kings and the King of this world. But one day before the death of our colleague and friend James, he was explaining to the Lord Luciferus that, in the physical realm of human, he heard people talking about another King of Kings named Jesus Christ. On that day in that meeting, we noticed that when James mentioned the name of Jesus Christ, the Lord Luciferus fell from his throne on the ground. When I remember this incident, I have the feeling that this Jesus could be the real king of the world, and he could more powerful than Master Luciferus. My friend Fiston was just listening to my suggestion, as we were looking for a way to stay alive. In fact, in the kingdom of Luciferus we had a demon in the name of Jesus. He is called Bar Jesus, but we knew there is nothing he could do for us. But while awaiting for my death, I was causing accident. I was using powder of Evening Beauty, the parfumacor, and a Rosicrucian wire. I was laying the wire in the boulevard to cause accident. The drivers were seeing a woman carrying a baby in the middle of the boulevard. This was just an illusion, and as a result accidents were happening, and Luciferus was happy about these bloodshed. Despite his death threats, while we were coming to attack your church, one day we noticed the presence of 2 witches inside, and we talked to them. They told us that they are settled here, and they are patiently waiting for an open door, and an opportunity to attack the pastor and destroy him. Actually this area is already full of witches, apart from the 2 women in your church assigned by the cosmic world to neutralize the pastor. These 2 witches in your church are women. They know me, I know them. They told us that the pastor is their target. They have been looking for ways to destroy him, but they are unable. They said they are patient, and they are waiting for an opportunity so that they can bring him down. We told them that if Pastor Alphonse opened a doorway, you phone us and inform us so that we come against him together. We had our assignment against him but we failed. In fact 20 witches were killed by angelic soldiers. Only 3 of us were left. But the occultic pastor is determined to kill Pastor Alphonse. The occultic pastor is in the cemetery as I am talking to you now. He said to me that he does not want to be punished by Luciferus in the kingdom of slaves. He is fasting and praying in the cemetery to kill your pastor. He swore that he will kill him whatever it takes. He is traumatized by the idea of death and being transferred to the red kingdom of slaves. I left him praying and doing incantation because I come from there. I was also taking part in that fasting with him, but I felt that the situation is complicated. I knew that whatever I can try against your pastor it won't work. There is no chance for me, and my days are numbers. Luciferus knows no mercy. In the past we even deployed the spirit of death who dwell in the cemetery in your church. This spirit captures negative word and bring it to pass. We also deployed the spirit of sexual immorality in the church in order to upset Pastor Alphonse, because we knew if the pastor can get angry, we will be able to enter and to destroy him. But after deploying these demons and these traps, we heard like a detonation and explosion. When we heard that explosion, we knew that our traps and our demons were hit by God fire. We knew that we have failed again, so I was pondering on the next move, what to do. I began to think that, maybe the pastor that we have been fighting against is more powerful than Luciferus, so I said, as he is more powerful than Luciferus, maybe he can save me from Luciferus' death threats. On the other hand, I thought that switching side meant that I will lose many powers that I had, including the power to multiply money. I also had a wife who is a siren, and I had 3 children with her in the parallel world. I knew I won't see them again if I switch side. When I thought about your pastor, I said he could be God or the King of King, because these are words I was hearing when coming to attack the church. Although people were referring to him, I never knew about the Bible or Jesus. Let me step back a little bit. I said that I was initiated in witchcraft from the womb of my mother, so my mother was also a witch. But it was when I got into magic that I became stronger than her, because one magician can fight 100 witches. When I became a magician, I was sometime putting traps against witches. I was installing a mystical wire, and when witches were flying they were falling because of that wire. Actually, during that 4 months war against Pastor Alphonse, I noticed that his body was light and fiery. You cannot touch it. In fact, in the spirit realm or the physical, when a Xishan is walking around, there is always a light shining from his forehead, and it is difficult to watch that light. But there are also lukewarm Xishan whose fire are failing to shining. The devil does not mind them, because they belong to him, and when they die they go to hell. So after failing to destroy your pastor, we shifted our strategy. We began to attack the church in order to destroy it, and one day we were briefed by Luciferus in the infernal kingdom. He showed us your church in a monitor. In that briefing, Luciferus say that your church is supposed to be big. That's why we must stop people from coming, and we must reduce the number. This is a big church. I saw it in the monitor in that Luciferus briefing. After that meeting we installed a wire used by Rosicrucian called Blader, right in the street of the church, where the church advertisement board is, in order to stop people from coming to the church. After that installation we were supposed to visit a Catholic priest, in order to get a mysterious bone and to bury it under your church right on the foundation, in order to reduce the number of the people attending your church. These were our activities in order to stop the church expansion. But I have to inform you that Luciferus has assembled a new team of wizards and witches. I left a total of 57 witches and wizards in the cemetery. They are fasting for 4 weeks, and they will attack after they finish fasting and doing incantation prayer, but they are still in their first week of fasting. I was with them, but I knows that they have no chance. That's why I came here. Actually, I used to see many pastors in the red world in our meeting with Luciferus. I can't quote their names because they can take legal action. Some of them can prophesy, and they can tell you things to come or hidden things, because they are inhabited by the spirit of Python. I also have the spirit of Python in me, which means I can prophesy like them. I was with these pastors in many conferences. We were attending Luciferus speeches. I remember him saying he is the King of King and that he owns planet Earth, and all the power belonged to him. But I was puzzled by your pastor power. Although he was the one, this church here is protected by a heavenly army of robust angelic soldiers and warriors. This army is extraordinary and marvelous to behold, and when we tried to engage them they overpowered us in second, and when we ran away they follow us even inside the cosmic world. They also follows us in the Pandemonium Kingdom and the Red World of Slaves, and they wiped us. I was thinking about my death and I said to myself, I will not die just like that. I have to get the past to know what we have been doing against him. Even if I died, at least someone will tell the story. I came here to ask the pastor for forgiveness for what we have done against him and his church, and to see if he can help me and give me his power, so that I can stay alive, because I have received death threats from Luciferus, who promised to send us to the kingdom of slaves. I lost my wife and children because of these practices. but there are 57 witches in the cemetery fasting for 1 month. They decided that the pastor have to die and the church have to cease to exist. I was supposed to come here today, but I did not have transport fee. I wanted to multiply the money, but my heart refused. I wanted to do astral traveling to come here, but my heart refused, so I have decided to walk to come here, which is a long distance. What was bothering me was that I thought Luciferus was the god of this world, and that he deserved to be worshipped. Actually, when he was coming to Nineveh, he was worshipped as God, but to see a man with red blood like me more powerful than him was mind-changing for me. So I said to myself, if Luciferus, the god of this universe, cannot kill this pastor, then I have to meet him. Maybe he can keep alive and he can give me his power, which is superior to that of Luciferus. That's why you see me here. I could not come with my magical book, red notebook and my utensils today. I had to meet the pastor and talk first. The church leaders asked Brother Danny this, "Brother, are you sure that you have not come to try a last attempt on Pastor Alphonse's life? Are you seriously considering to give up occultism? Are you trying to come closer to the pastor and attack him? Because Jesus told us if you dare you will die on the spot. It is up to you." Then Brother Danny answered, "I am serious. I know how dangerous your pastor is, because 20 of my colleagues died trying to kill him. I have seen the army of angels protecting this church and the pastor. I know that if I tried they can kill me even now. The fact that I came here and you pray for me in the morning, I know that Luciferus and the cosmic realm are informed already of my presence here. If you turned your back on me, I don't think I will even reach my house, because Luciferus is the god of this world. I will be hit in second with death. I am facing death, but I want to renounce occultism, and stay alive. Only the power of your pastor that can keep me alive." Actually, in the neighborhood of Mamre, where the kingdom of Nineveh was built, there were many churches, and we used to attack them, and as we were persistent we managed to overcome them, by dislocating them or removing holiness and the presence of the Holy Spirit. But your church and this pastor here were untouchable.